Hello and welcome back to the channel. So what you can see here in the top left hand corner is the average room temperature of my living room, and this was taken from the Bluetooth thermometer that I bought a few months back, and it takes a sample of the room temperature every minute, and as you can see it's done this for the last few days, and it's calculated that the average room temperature is 19 degrees, so that's what I'm going to use to set the application at. So what you're looking at here is the first page from the Masta BIGA app, and as you can see I've set the room temperature to 19 degrees, and you can see here where I've specified the start time where I want to make the BIGA and what time the BIGA is going to be ready. So I'm going to start it this evening at 6:36 and it should be finished tomorrow afternoon at 1:38. This next page of the application is telling us, or giving us the option to select how much BIGA we want in the recipe, and as you can see it's set to 100%. We've got 2% olive oil, 3% salt and 70% hydration in total. So this is the complete list of ingredients that we need. To make the BIGA we need 1,273 grams of flour, which is at least W300 up to W350. We need 522 grams of water, 12.7 grams of fresh yeast, and the final kneading temperature needs to be 21°C. For the refresh, which is the bit that we put in on the next day, we don't need any flour, we just need some water, which is 369 grams. We don't need any yeast. We need 12.7 grams of diastatic malt, 25 grams of olive oil, and 38 grams of salt. And on the final page of the application, you can see the timings for making the recipe. So we're going to start with the BIGA and kneading that at 6:30. That will then sit at room temperature, bulking until 1:26 p.m. the next day, so I'll just call it 1:30. Then at half an hour after that, we then divide the balls and start the leavening process, and then at 4:29 p.m. we will then be able to start cooking the dough. Okay, so before we start, this is the choice of flour I'm using. My old favourite, it's a W330, so it should be spot on for the job. Okay, so there is 12 grams of fresh yeast. That's a right old block. So the first thing I'm going to do with that is throw it in the water and I'll let that dissolve. And there's the flour ready to go. Okay, that's looking pretty mixed up, so let's get the show on the road. So we'll start just by chucking the flour in. So this is going to be 8 dough balls. Got some family coming round, so I'll treat them to some pizza. Okay, that's the flour. We'll get this going round, a little bit of an airing. Okay, start getting some of the water in. It's working out at around 41% hydration with this lot in, so it's pretty tough on mixers, such a low hydration. So I'm not going to hang around, I'm just going to get most of it in pretty quick, because it will turn quite solid pretty quickly, I think. So that's all the water in. Looking pretty raggy already. You can smell that yeast, all 12 grams of it. So we need to get to 21 degrees with this apparently. Okay, I'll leave it running for a bit and we'll come back. Right, so it's been running for about a minute. After I stopped it, I've just moved it around to see if there's any remaining flour at the bottom that's not been incorporated, and there's still a little bit here and there, so we'll let it run for a bit longer. Okay, I'll stop and take a bit of a temp test with my new Thermopen 21, which is where it should be. It says stop at 21, 21.2. Yeah, 21.4. Okay, I guess that's it. Have a quick feel of it now. Yeah, just quite clumpy, very dry. So I'm going to put this in a bowl now and we'll leave it at room temperature for nearly 19 hours. Yep. See what it's like then. Okay, we'll be back shortly. There you go, a bit of a close-up. Just clumps. It's exactly how we want it. And yep, get some plastic wrap on this and we'll see it tomorrow. Okay, so here we are the next day. This is what it looks like. Wow, it's got a lovely aroma to it. You can see down there it looks the yeast's been well and truly working away. Okay, so I'm going to break this into clumps and put it in the mixer. I've got ready the next stuff, the diastatics, malt, olive oil, water and the salt. So I'm just breaking this up into clumps so it's a bit easier for the mixer. So I'll do that to all the dough. Okay, there we are. All ready to go, fairly loose. Anyway, I'm going to start by putting in probably most of the water because it is very, very dry. So that's a good chunk of the water on. Let's reset my timer, put it on a slowish speed. And start incorporating the other ingredients. So in goes the malt. This will help it along with the oil. I don't know if there's any specific way of putting all this together or an order, but and the oil's going. Put some salt in. That's the salt. Still got some water left to put in. We'll let it get going on this first. Okay, I'll leave it running for a few minutes and then we'll come back. Okay, so we've been cruising for 5 minutes now. I've speeded the machine up a little bit. It's starting to incorporate now and get less looking like the individual clumps that it was. I'll start dribbling a bit more water in, I think, just a bit. I wouldn't like to make this by hand, that's for sure. Coming up to 6.5 minutes now. Okay, I'll leave it running for a bit. Okay, we're at 8 minutes 30. I'm going to add some more water. Okay, we're at 10 minutes 50. With some more water. "13 minutes. We'll put some more water in and then I think we'll let it have a rest for a bit. Still got a tiny bit of water left. It's looking good. It's looking sloppy, but it's looking good. Starting to show signs of a little bit of pumpkin in slightly. It's not sticking to the side the same as it was, which is good. Right, that's the last of the water in. Get that incorporated a little bit and then we'll give it a rest. So 14 minutes into the mix. Okay, let's have a quick temperature check. See where we're at. 18.4. Okay, so that's good. Got a bit of leeway to give it some pain. Right, I'm going to let it rest for a few minutes. Okay, so I've managed to drip the last little bit of oil I could get out of the bottom of the tub while it's been resting, which is what that is at the bottom there. So let's crack on. A 5-minute rest. I think we're going to have to increase the speed somewhat now. Okay, we're running at 20 minutes now. I'm going to probably give it another break. I'm going to take a temperature on it, see what it's like. (19.9), 19.8. So we've still got some scope left. We'll give it a few minutes to have a rest now. Okay, so it's had another 5 minutes. Let's get it going. Starting to look a bit smoother. Okay, we'll leave it running for a bit longer. Okay, we're 26 minutes into it and it's starting to pull away from the very edge, which is a good sign. Yep, definitely, it's on its way now. It's starting to pumpkin. Just looks like the start of it there. Okay, we're 28 minutes into it now. Thinking I'm going to give it a bit of a rest for a few minutes and take a temperature. So let's have a look at the temperature now to start off with. (22°). So we've got a bit to go yet, so that's good. Alright, we'll let it rest for 5 minutes. Okay, so it's had 5 minutes to rest. Let's send it on its way. Ooh, super smooth. Bottom of the bowl's looking nice and clean now. Okay, we'll leave this running like this for another few more minutes. So we're at 32 minutes now, it's looking really good. Just getting a bit conscious of the temperature, so I'm going to just stop it and take a test. (23.6). Let's keep going. Leave it running for a bit longer. I don't know if you can see how it's getting around that breaker bar now. It looks absolutely amazing. It's bubbling and cracking and popping. It really is looking good. It's super smooth. Can you hear it? Okay. Keep an eye on the temperature. Let's have a quick look. 24.12. Let's keep going. A couple of minutes I think and we'll be there. Okay. Okay, 35 minutes. Let's have another test. There we go. Actually, bang on 25. So let's have a look at what it feels like. Ooh. That's nice. It's tearing slightly. It probably could do with a little bit more, but I'm not sure. I mean, it is very, very thin when it's tearing. I mean, it's like paper thin. Yeah, thinner than paper even. Yep. Okay, I'll leave it at that. I'll get it out and let it rest for half an hour before we boil. So after getting it out of here, it is quite sloppy. So I've decided to do some folds on it to try and give it a bit more strength. Okay, I think that'll do. I'll leave it in the bowl now. Cover it up. Okay, so using slightly damp hands, it's time to ball this up. $210, $255, $277, 281. Okay, it's a bit tacky to hold, but there we go. I will do that with the rest of them. Okay, there we are, all balled up, ready for later on. Okay, so it's time to cook. Feast your eyes on these things. Oh my god, there's a hand. They are enormous. Okay, so I can't remember, I've made a good few pizzas now. Actually, I've only got 2 dough balls left, so I've made 6 pizzas. What I will tell you is that it's very difficult to shape, mostly because it's just so relaxed. You don't actually have to stretch it. So it's not good for getting nice shaped pizzas, if you get my gist. They always tend to be a bit funny looking. But the pizzas that have been coming out have been mega. And if you just watch the state of this, I mean, look at it. It's like, it's just bubble central. So it's not the easiest to shape. This one doesn't look too bad, but it doesn't require any real stretching as I would normally stretch my pizzas out. It does stretch beautifully. The final stretch on the peel is really nice, so you can always fill the peel up. So this one's for the neighbours, number 2 for the neighbours. Got some cheese on. Onions, chicken, some bacon bits, and for good measure I'll put a few strips of this stuff on if I can get in the packet. Serrano ham, should be nice on top. Try not to cook the plastic with it. So we'll get it on the peel and then you'll see just how nice it stretches out. No retracting, it's beautiful. Look at that for a pizza.
It looks like a star.
Looks good to me. Might start charging the neighbours. Okay, don't want to overdo it. Bingo. Right, let's have a look at oven temp. Oops. 425. Bosh. In she goes. So out of 8 pizzas, I'm not wanting to jinx it, but all of them have come out so far.
It looks fragile dough, it feels fragile dough, but it's actually pretty good. Some dobby bubbles coming up.
Gonna pop.
Wow. Jeepers. It certainly gets a good crust on it. Jeez, that's the problem with all the bubbles, they burn a bit. Give it a touch more. Yeah, I think that's a wrap. So there we go. I mean, it's a bit burnt, but that is dobbing. So there we go, 100% bigger. Thanks for watching. Cheers. So let's have a go at getting one out. Good grief. Oh, it's stuck a bit to the side. Oh, these are really sticky looking things. This looks messy. Let's see what we can do with it. It's lost its shape because it's stuck to the side, but I think we can rescue it a bit. Very, very, very loose, slightly fragile feeling. Yeah, not very round because of the mess. Okay, let's move that over here. Swap sides. Yeah, that's not very round, never mind. Not easy to get out, that, in all honesty. Wow. There we go. Let's have a look. Yeah, nice. Quite springy. Some nice pockets of air in there. It looks very light. Nice structure to it. Smells good. Yeah, very nice. Very nice.